Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwant and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of meeting with Peter van Kets. He's an adventurer extraordinaire. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Gerhard. It's great to be with you guys, and thanks for inviting me to your show. It's fantastic.
You have rowed across the Atlantic in a rowboat.
The very first row that I did with a very good friend of mine, Bill Godfrey, also a South African. He actually conceived the idea, and he introduced himself to me, and we became quite good friends. And he said, "Pete, you want to come and do this row across the Atlantic with me?" And I said to him, "Bill, are you completely nuts? Of course I want to come do this with you." It is an unsupported race across the southern part of the North Atlantic Ocean. So once we left the Canary Islands just off the coast of Morocco, we'd be unsupported until we got to Antigua in the Caribbean. An amazing journey.
What do you have to do to prepare for such a long distance? How many days did it take you?
The idea was that we would row non-stop. So 24 hours a day, there would be one of us rowing. And that's what we did. We rowed in shifts of 1.5 hours on, 1.5 hours off, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 50 days and 12 hours. The only time that we took off where none of us were rowing was on Christmas Day. We had our Christmas lunch. So obviously that is a huge physical ask, but most importantly, this was going to be an expedition that would happen inside our heads. Our ability to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning when our hands are open and raw and blistered, and we've got pressure sores in our bottom, and it's raining and it's cold and whatever it is outside, to get out there and go and row for another hour and a half. So Edmund Hillary said, "It's not the mountain we conquer, it's ourselves."
So how do you handle food? Do you pack everything, or do you supplement by fishing?
Food was vital. Light, freeze-dried food. We would be using anywhere between 8,000 and 10,000 calories a day. So we would supplement our food with olive oil. 100 mils of olive oil is equivalent to 900 kilocalories, about a 4-course meal. So 3-4 times a day we'd pour olive oil into a little mug, sip it down, or pour it into our food, mix it in with our food, and drink that down. And that's pretty much what we ate.
What are some of the risks that you had to deal with, and how did you manage them?
The biggest risk is just not being seaworthy. Your boat not being seaworthy, and ships, and dealing with stuff inside, because you literally can go mad out at sea if you've spent 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks out at sea. You can literally lose it. I think one of the biggest risks are the big shipping lanes. So one really needs to understand where the shipping lanes are and know your navigation properly. And then also, if you understand where those shipping lanes are, just be totally vigilant around your boat and around your navigating during that time. On my solo row, which I didn't have on the first row with my friend Bill, I installed an instrument called an Automatic Identification System, or AIS, which all ships have. It's a bit like a radar, except it uses a lot less energy, and you can work it through your GPS. So you will see a ship coming up like on a radar, but on your GPS. You just click on it and it'll tell you what the name of that ship is, how many people are on board, what direction it's going in, where it's going, what cargo it's got on. So that AIS on that ship is sending off a signal every 6 seconds. And when your GPS picks it up, it'll tell you immediately whether you're on a collision course or not, or how much time you have until you pass it, etc. So it's a great instrument to have. So having that on board was absolutely amazing. On day 65 of my solo row, I had a ship pull up right next to me. They came to see what this little rowing boat in the sea was all about. I switched on my radio and I started speaking to these guys. Now on the bridge deck of the ship, there's this, it's like a little wing. And I had all the officers were standing on the bridge deck looking down at me with their binoculars, and we had this long chat, and they were desperately concerned about me, whether I needed to be rescued or not. And about halfway through the conversation I started laughing, because I realized that I was standing there, I had this big long red beard, I was completely stark naked, and I didn't even realize that I was naked. When you spend so much time out at sea. In any case, so these guys, it was a very funny conversation.
So how do you translate that experience into everyday life? How has your life changed because of that experience?
Every expedition that I've been on has been a process. And if we have a right process put in place in our lives, we can achieve anything. And whether that's starting a business, our sales team, our sales process that we put together, there is a strict process. And I've put a process in place in my life to make sure that when I start something, I finish it successfully and significantly. I have never ever, for instance, met a sales team that wants to fail. I've never met a business owner that wants to fail. I've never worked with an executive team that wants to fail. Every team that I've worked with, every person that I've worked with wants to succeed. They want to lead a successful life, and they want to lead a significant life. They want to leave a story behind one day, a legacy, call it that. And every story starts off with a dream and a vision. And that's the basis of everything. You know, we need to have that big dream, big vision for our businesses, for our lives, for our relationships with the people around us. They're all interlinked, very, very much interlinked. You cannot work separately from each of them. So we start off with a vision, and there's just different things that I've learned in my expeditions that if we put them together properly, we'll finish off back at our dream absolutely 100% successful in that journey.